Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to Swift Slots. And welcome to this week's Swift Slots mail call. So this is a summary of the items that I've had delivered to me in the post this week for viewing on this channel or for making in later projects. So let's get you on the bench and show you them one by one.
What else are we up to? Rob from Swift Slots. Man, is that guy a genius or what? Fair dinkum. I reckon you could give Rob from Swift Slots a potato, right, and say, Rob, make this potato into a slot car. And you know what he's going to do? I reckon, you know what he's going to do? He's going to say, all right, Pat, what do you want? 124, 132, HO, you know, what sort of car do you want? He could make that potato into a slot car. That guy is a genius. So he's done a great track build. You've got to watch that one.
Okay, so what did I get in the post this week? Well, these didn't really come in the post. I collected them from a local seller from Facebook Marketplace, and you've actually already seen this Ferrari on the tyre video that I made. So this car isn't really a mail call car, and you have already seen it, but who cares? So these are the two cars that I got from a Scalextric set that I bought locally for a very fair price. I found an owner for the track and I should be selling the controllers, but I really wanted to keep the cars. Now I got plans for these cars, not big plans but plans, and I got this box from Pendle Slot to complement these cars as well. Now this did turn up in the post, and in this box here we got some goodies to make these cars just a little bit nicer. They're not really going to run better. I just want to bring them up to spec so that I can actually make them work a little bit nicer. Obviously, being set cars, they're missing their wing mirrors. So Pendle Slot Racing sell these wing mirrors for the Ferrari. They're pre-done in red. They're not 3D printed. They're actually nicely molded. And there's the part number there for those that are interested. So there's a nice set of wing mirrors to go on the Ferrari. And also, while we're on the topic of wing mirrors, in this box here, there is also a set of wing mirrors for the XJ220. Again, moulded in plastic. They're not 3D printed. And there's the part number for those that are interested. Because obviously being a set car, it's missing its wing mirrors. So we've got wing mirrors for both of those cars. I've got my favourite Slotting Plus guides, standard guides. They won't be going on this car, it's just for stock. Now, these will be. So, as we all know, or maybe we don't all know, the wheels in the older slot car, the older Scalextric cars, they tend to fall off. The plastic relaxes over the years and they end up falling off. Now, obviously, this car, those wheels were glued on for the video that I did on the tyres, and indeed, this car has those tyres still on it. But as most of us know, the original Scalextric tyres, they end up cracking and splitting and going hard. There's no grip to them. So I've got in this box some bits for that. But basically, to make those back wheels last a long time, we need to really replace the wheels. So Pendle Slot Racing also sell full replacement wheels for the Ferrari and the Jaguar. So I've got a full set of Ferrari wheels here, so there'll be a nice tight fit on the axle. Now the great thing about these cars is they actually run on the proper 3/32 axle. They're not some sort of weird size like 2.5mm or something a bit abnormal to slot cars. They're actually 3/32. So we can use standard axles. So I've got a pair of axles from Slotting Plus to go on both of these cars. Now this particular car did actually have one of the wheels completely missing, and this one here I actually started to use it to make a rubber mold so that I could make a new set of wheels, because I didn't realise you could buy replacement wheels for this car. But again, Pendle Slot to the rescue. Pendle Slot Racing actually sell the proper XJ220 wheels for this car. So I abandoned the idea of making the wheels and just got those. Now also, these are the eBay wheels, tyres, that I got. I actually got two sets from eBay because I thought I would need two sets. But again, Pendle Slot came to the rescue with their tyres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these new wheels to go on the back there. I'll probably use these reproduction tyres from eBay on the XJ. And I'll leave the Ferrari with the Pendle Slot tyres on, just because. So there's those there. Now, as I said, both of these cars are going to get a replacement axle because I want to replace these gears with these Slotting Plus gears, because they're Slotted gears, because they're a lot better quality and they'll just run a lot nicer. So what we'll have is we will have a brand new axle on the back, a brand new crown gear, brand new set of wheels which will fit nicely on the axles, and aftermarket tyres on the XJ220. And on the Ferrari you'll get all the same, apart from the fact that I'm going to leave the pendle slot tyres on there. So there's the gear for that one. And also we've got a set of brass bearings to go in there, because the Scalextric's bearings are made of nylon, so they're obviously not going to be a great fit for anything really. So we'll have this nice axles, the nice bearings, the nice gear, nice new set of wheels all around, pendle slot tyres on this one, standard tyres on this one. So that's what all that lot's for. But also what I'm going to do is I'm going to spliff up these two cars a little bit. And there's a bit of a story here. Now I've already started, you'll notice there's a Pirelli sticker, a water slide, not a water slide, a tampo there, but not on this side, because I actually started experimenting with T-cut and actually managed to T-cut the tampos off, or cutting compound for a real size car. Now that came off really, really well, really clean, and there's lovely plastic, shiny plastic underneath. I always did the top of the wing, a little bit of the roof as well to see what would happen, and it comes up really nicely. So I'm going to wipe all of the tampo printing off this car, apart from the one on the windscreen. I'm going to take off the one on there as well, leave the one on there, and then take off all the rest, leave the Ferrari emblems on, so it's a straight red car. Put the rear view mirrors on it, obviously do the back end as well, and I'm going to take out all this ridiculous slop, and I'm going to fix it into a fixed position and turn this car into something a little bit nicer visually, and hopefully it will go a little bit nicer as well. I don't want to go mad with this car. I just want to sort of spliff it up a little bit and just make it into a nice running car, and a little bit of a shelf queen, and a nice red with its wing mirrors and a slightly better setup, and so on and so forth. So that will be done on one video. And on this car, now I really, really like the XJ220, and I was hoping to get rid of all these racing numbers and leave it in a blue. And that would have been my goal. Again, taking out that silly front, all that silly movement in the front there, replacing all the back end as I said before, and removing all the tampo printing and turning it into a standard car. Now I thought I was doing quite well. You've got one tampo here and no tampo here, and we got a tampo here and no tampo here. Now I did start to see a little bit of silvering of the paint as I was taking off this one. I thought, well, better be careful. So then I started on this tampo on this side over here, and as you can see, it didn't go well. It needs there's so many layers of colour on this here. You've got white, black and red. Obviously you've got different thicknesses now of print. So by the time you rub, it actually goes through whatever paint they've got on here, and you end up, the blue tends to go to silver, and it's no good. It's basically wrecked the paintwork. So what I intend to do is repaint the car in Mr. Colour 76 metallic blue. Now I like this colour a lot, and I just bought it because I liked it, and I went into the shop again and I picked up a beautiful blue. I thought, that's a lovely blue, I'll buy that blue, and lo and behold, it's 76. So I've now got 2 jars of 76 because I like the colour so much I bought it twice. So that's what I intend to do. I'm going to take off all of these tampos, I'm going to give it a good old rub down, and I'm going to repaint the whole car in this metallic blue. It's very, very similar to the blue that it's already got. It's a little bit lighter, and I should repaint the roof here black, give it a nice coat of lacquer, and turn it into a standard road car, all the standard wheels back on it again, and then say repaint it in the blue. So that'll be another little video. I say I don't intend to turn this into an absolutely fantastic model with all the details and upgrades and everything else. I just want to bring it back to really nice serviceable condition with a nice freshened up back axle, nice colour blue all over it, black roof panel, all the racing decals gone, nice new set of wing mirrors, and just turn it into a nice looking car that can run around the track nicely and look nice on the shelf. So I seem to be going on a bit of a classic Scalextric's bender at the moment, and I picked up this very, very nice Scalextric's car on eBay. Now obviously it's a Scalextric's BMW M1 from way back in the day, probably the early 80s I'm guessing. I haven't researched the date, maybe even earlier than that. But the box is actually in pretty decent condition, and the car is in fantastic condition, and that's why I paid a little bit of money for this car. I think it was something like £35, which is a relatively strong amount of money for a car like this, I think, especially buying it on eBay as well. If you go to the shows and so on, you can get these cars a lot cheaper. But obviously, shows for me only really come around once or maybe twice a year. 6 months is a long time to wait, and a couple of quid extra, well, whatever. But it's an absolutely wonderful looking car. Really, really pleased with it. I don't expect any performance out of it. It is an old Scalextric car at the end of the day. But I think it's nice because of that. This is where our hobby started, really, in the 70s. It really got going. I know slot cars have been going since the 50s or even 40s, but really it got going strongly in the 60s, and then into the 70s became very, very mainstream with all the Scalextric set. They started to become a lot more viable as cars. They sort of moved away from being sort of hobby grade sort of stuff into sort of proper toys. And this is what I grew up with when I was a kid, is this kind of stuff, the actual toy grade Scalextric cars. This is kind of where I'm at in my headspace, this era of car. The tyres, or the wheels rather, have started to fade on this one a bit more. They often do that, and I wonder if I should respray these wheels with my Mr. Colour Gold. It's a beautiful gold, and it would turn these wheels back to a really nice shade of gold, matching what's on the car. So let me know in the comments if you think that I should just touch in these wheels. And I know it would take away from the originality, but it was only £35 at the end of the day. So I don't really know if it's worth a great deal. It's worth £35 because that's what I paid for it. But, you know, is it so precious that I can't repaint the wheels and make it look really nice again? I'm not sure. So that's what I've got in the post. And also, I got because Pendle Slot gave me the tyres for my Ferrari, I've now got a spare set of reproduction tyres. Now, these tyres actually don't look in bad condition at all. They're certainly not cracked or split, and they appear to have a little bit of grip. So again, should I put the reproduction tyres on it just because it's fresh rubber, and if I ever come to run it, occasionally it'll run nicely, for a while at least? Or should I just leave the original tyres? I'm erring towards leaving the original tyres because there doesn't appear to be anything wrong with them. But it's a really nice looking car, and I really like it. I know that Fly make them now, and loads of other brands make them, but this is kind of the original. It's the daddy, isn't it, really? And it's a lovely sort of well, we know it's JPS, but you know, it's just a lovely paint scheme. So I got him. And continuing with the classic Scalextric theme, I got this Tyrrell. Absolutely wonderful condition Tyrrell. Now, my M1 was £35. This, conversely, was £13. £13 for a Tyrrell with all the induction all still in place. It's not broken, the tabs aren't broken, it's not glued in, it's got the original tyres on it. The motor all works great. The seller even fitted it with a nice set of braids. I've checked them, they're really, really nicely fitting. And all the parts are there. Drivers all there. The tampos aren't really worn off at all. It's absolutely wonderful condition. And if you recall from my opening of Ricard Valley, I was running my Lotus here. And also in the tyre video that I did the other day, I changed the very, very tired tyres on this car into the Pendle Slot tyres, which improved it dramatically. And as soon as this car was improved with the Pendle Slot tyres, I really got a soft spot for this car. It really elevated it from what I bought it for originally, which is a memory of my childhood with my friends racing this car. And that was what I bought this one for. But then turning it into something that really goes around the track well with the Pendle Slot tyres, it got me thinking I want another one. So that's why I've got this Tyrrell, because I think they look really nice together. And of course, because the JPS car was so much improved with the Pendle Slot tyres, I decided to get another mail call. You guessed it, it's a set of tyres. So what we'll do is we'll christen this Tyrrell with a brand new set of Pendle Slot tyres, so that we got both cars fully up to speed and both technically able to absolutely destroy the track in a really, really appropriate manner. And there we are, all done. Now, I can't tell you how happy that makes me feel. These tyres are lovely. They really are good tyres. If you've got a classic Formula 1 car, go and get yourself a set of these Pendle Slot tyres. They're TP01 for the vintage Formula 1 cars. They're really good, really soft. They feel really nice and plush and really nice. They really upgrade your car a lot. So there we are. So these tyres won't get wasted. They are completely knackered. I mean, I don't know if you can see there, but they're absolutely rotten through. They're no good for running. They will be just as bad as the Lotus car here. They would be absolutely hopeless for running around the track. So there's no loss by changing them. I mean, yes, you could argue that I've losing the originality of the car, but come on guys, it's £13.50. How valuable is it? And there's thousands of these. No one wants them. Everyone's moved on to the polycar Formula Ones and everything else, but I really like these. They're really innocent cars. They're just lovely cars to run. The performance isn't massive, so you don't get yourself into any huge problems because you're not going fast enough to do that, and I really like them. And now both of them have got these lovely soft new tyres on. They're both going to run really, really well. So that was what turned up this week for my classic Scalextric collection, my Tyrrell. And I have also serviced this motor because it was a little bit stiff. I noticed there was absolutely no end float in the motor at all because it had been compacted with hair. The whole car was in good condition generally, but the inside of the motor had hair, like a hair washer on both ends. So I had to take the motor apart, take all that hair out inside the motor, and then we've got all that nice backlash back in the motor there, and now it runs super freely. It runs really, really nicely. As you see, both of these cars are exactly the same layout, so that was another advantage to buying the Tyrrell, because now I've got two cars that are almost exactly the same. They should be much the same in performance. So there we are. So that's what turned up as well, my new Tyrrell. And last, but definitely not least, we've got this lovely Snoopy classic race car powered kit from Atlantis Models, the same people that made my midget build that I've just completed. Now this particular build is going to be for a very special person, and that will be revealed in my next video. So inside the kit we get a plastic base to hold the car. I'm going to put the case to one side because it's a bit large for this here. Obviously we get the instructions, which we'll come back to. You get some stickers, and we have the main body, which is a really nice casting, and you can see it's quite a large car, about the same size as my midget that I built in the last video. And we have the chassis there. Then we have a set of rubber tyres. Now these are quite hard, so I don't quite know how they're going to grip, but we'll work that out when we get there. And we've got some black parts, which includes Snoopy's helmet, and some wheels, which will need a little bit of work. And then we have the white parts, which includes the exhaust pipe, the wheel centers, steering wheel, and Snoopy's head, and the front grille of the car. And there's a random gear there. And then we have Snoopy's body, so it's a decent size. And the steering assembly on the front of the car. Now obviously this is going to be turned into a slot car, so we won't be needing that particularly. And also it comes with this motor, which is basically a standard S-can motor, and it's made for twin AA batteries, so about 6 volts. So I don't really know if this S-can is particularly powerful or whether it's 12 volts or whatever, but the point is that the head on Snoopy is actually mechanical. So as it drives along, his head waggles around. So you don't really want to overpower these gears anyway. So that only being, let's say it's only a 6 volt motor, that's absolutely fine, because on Rickard Valley, the track that this will go round, because it's too big for Crow Valley, so on Rickard Valley I can turn the voltage all the way down. So I'll turn the voltage down to about 6 or 5 volts, and that will be more than enough to keep the drivetrain in good order, and also probably to maintain a little bit of grip, because I really don't think that we're going to be getting a lot of grip from these tyres here. And this car, like I said, it's for a special person. They're not going to be interested in thrashing it around the track anyway. As long as it drives around the track as Snoopy's waggling his head, that person will be very happy with that. So here are the instructions, as we can see, and they're pretty good instructions. This is a very, very basic kit, so there's nothing too difficult in it at all. You've got the very basic instructions there. You can see the batteries. Obviously we're going to be turning this into a slot car, so we don't really need the batteries. As you can see, there's the gear train and so on and so forth. And there's the last page there showing some of the mechanism. And there we are. So as I said, this will be coming out in a video incredibly soon, and I will show you this kit in detail in that video. So that concludes what I've had this week in my mail call. So there it is, all the little things that I've had delivered in the post this week for projects in the future. So if you've enjoyed this sort of content, maybe you'll subscribe, and if you could hit the little bell button, that would be awesome. So until the next time, thank you very much.